Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Tomb of Fallen Gods based on novel. So let's start. At this moment, Pingyang City was teeming with experts, a veritable gathering of forces from all directions in the Chu capital. The mischievous little demon king's challenge to Chen Nan at this critical juncture, in the central square of the capital, was undoubtedly an attempt to create momentum. Some time ago, he was stabbed in both ribs by Chen Nan's spear and lost the Zhenpai divine halberd, which was a great loss of face. Now he undoubtedly wants to regain his face and defeat Chen Nan in front of many masters in the world. Faced with the rampaging, resurgent little devil, Chen Nan simply said two words: fight back. After the two top young masters set a date for their decisive battle, the news spread throughout Pingyang City immediately, and everyone learned that the two would have a life-or-death battle in 3 days. Without a doubt, the showdown between two young powerhouses who are almost invincible among the younger generation will surely attract worldwide attention. The news of the mischievous little demon king's challenge to Chen Nan has spread throughout Pingyang City, the capital of Chu, for the past 2 days, and countless people are watching with bated breath. Chen Nan's debut was marked by his heroic feat in the Chu Kingdom's palace, where he single-handedly turned the tide, spearing a dragon knight, smashing a flying dragon with a club, and shooting down a giant dragon with Hui's bow, earning him instant fame. Later, in the Jin Kingdom, he fought a fierce battle against a group of rogue youths, single-handedly taking on an army of 1,000, and wielding the 7 demon blades to nearly defeat a peerless master. Afterwards, he bravely ventured into the death zone, and upon escaping, fought against various masters in the city of Sin, joining forces with numerous young masters from the 4 major academies to cripple the peerless master Ling's issue. Most recently, he shot and killed a corpse fiend and severely injured a mid-level Western angel. Since his debut, almost every battle he has fought has been enough to shock the cultivation world. In terms of reputation alone, no one among the younger generation can surpass him. He can be called the most powerful and influential figure of the moment. Even before the mischievous little demon king made his debut, the older generation had already predicted that his cultivation would place him among the top 10 masters of the Eastern continent. And indeed, as everyone expected, on his very first day, he engaged in a fierce aerial battle with the most outstanding successor of the Tantai Holy Land, displaying his impressive cultivation. Although he was later severely injured by Chen Nan, everyone gradually realized that it wasn't due to a lack of strength on his part, but rather that there was more to the story. This battle between two top experts has captivated the hearts of many cultivators, as it is a clash between young powerhouses striving for supremacy. In an elegant hall of the Chu Kingdom's palace, Meng Kuo and Chen Nan raised their glasses to each other, facing each other. "Brother Chen, I wish you a triumphant return." "Thank you. This time, I was the first to clash with the evil Holy Land. If I can eliminate the chaotic little demon king, I think your righteous Holy Land will have far fewer troubles." "How will you thank me?" Meng Kuo smiled slightly and said, "Haven't we already formed an alliance? It would be too formal to talk about these things." "Come on, Meng Kuo. There are no outsiders here, just you and me. We both know what's going on between us. If we want to resolve our grudges, according to your plan, one of us will have to fall. If we follow my plan, he. Seeing the hateful smile on Chen Nan's face, Meng Kuo's expression changed several times before finally softening. She said, "We can settle our issues later. Right now, the key is to see who wins between you and the little demon king." "Yes, that's how it is. Meng Kuo, if I can defeat the little demon king this time, I will have fulfilled my obligation to form an alliance. That successor of the path of destruction is also our common enemy. From now on, it's up to you." Chen Nan subtly hinted at this, foreshadowing a future confrontation between him and Meng Kuo. He then chuckled and said, he, the little devil who's been causing trouble all made his debut by declaring he wanted to take you as his woman, and the brother and sister from the path of lust have also said that Nangongyin wants to take you as her woman too, while Nangongxiana wants to find a man for every woman in the Tantai Holy Land. Ha ha, how interesting. I feel like everyone wants to take Miss Meng as their own, ha ha. Faced with Chen Nan's audacious teasing, Meng Kuo's eyes flashed with cold light, and she said coldly, "Arrogant and ignorant people will be punished for their words sooner or later." Chen Nan laughed loudly. "According to Fairy Meng, I am also an arrogant and ignorant person, and it seems I am even more so, he he." Meng Kuo was extremely ashamed and angry. If she hadn't wanted to use Chen Nan to deal with the little demon king, she probably would have already killed him. Chen Nan understood this as well. After his decisive battle with the mischievous little demon king, his honeymoon with Meng Kuo would likely be over. Therefore, he was unusually unrestrained at this moment, laughing loudly. "This is really interesting. I've discovered that the people of the 6 evil paths are all very individualistic. A fierce battle for beauties is definitely going to erupt in the future. Fairy Meng, don't let your murderous intent reach me. The beauties I'm referring to aren't just you, there are others too, he he, interesting. Fairy Meng, take care." Meng Kuo was truly ashamed and angry, and finally stormed off. Then Chen Nan arrived at the Yellow Crane Tower. The stunningly beautiful Nangong Xiana, with a bewitching expression, personally filled a cup of wine for Chen Nan and whispered, "Listen carefully. I will tell you about the unique features of the Void Path, the ultimate technique of the Chaotic Heaven Path." Chen Nan listened attentively. He truly wasn't confident of victory in this battle. He had been in the game for a long time, and had numerous battle examples for his opponents to study, but he knew very little about Xiongqian. He noted down everything Nangong Xiana said. Although it wouldn't be of much use, it at least gave him some understanding of his opponent. The chaotic void Tao is listed among the heavenly treasures, possessing unparalleled power and many unexpected transformations. It is profound and mysterious, almost a Daoist art, truly unpredictable and bizarre. What I just told you is the information recorded in our sect's internal scriptures. Whether there are any other special features, we cannot know. At this moment, Nangong Xiana's beautiful face was serious, her slender, jade-like hands supporting her snow-white chin, as if she was trying to think. After a long while, she said, "All right, I've said everything I needed to say." Chen Nan was puzzled and asked, "Why is Miss Nangong helping me?" "Yes, we are allied, but Xiongqian is one of your 6 paths. At most, you can just ignore him. Why are you helping me instead? You heartless bastard." Nangong Xiana's voice was sickeningly sweet. She swayed her supple waist and walked up to Chen Nan. She stretched out her slender hand, pinched a lock of his long hair, and twirled it around her fingertip. She said coquettishly, "Didn't I say that I would choose you as the principal prince? I have to help my own family no matter what." Chen Nan sat still, squinted and smiled, then suddenly reached out and wrapped his arms around Nangong Xiana's soft waist, quickly pulling her into his embrace. Nangong was extremely surprised, clearly not expecting the honest and law-abiding Chen Nan to suddenly make a move. However, she quickly calmed down, her body as nimble as a fish, and she managed to break free using some strange movement technique. She chuckled from a distance of 10 feet, "You're too impatient. It won't be too late when I take you into my harem. Why rush things?" Nangong Xiana smiled charmingly, truly exuding 1,000 kinds of allure. Even an iron man would melt under her peerless charm. Chen Nan's face was full of smiles. He did not get up, but his right hand quickly swung forward. A golden palm of light, as fast as lightning, enveloped Nangong Xiana and carried her back. "Dragon capturing hand," she exclaimed, struggling with all her might, but she could not break free of the palm of light. Chen Nan put his arms around her waist and laughed. "You keep saying you want to marry me. It seems that if I don't agree, I would really be letting you down." Nangong Xiana's face flushed slightly, whether from her alluring demeanor or from being caught off guard by the sudden event, it was hard to tell. This time, she didn't rush to break free. Instead, her soft body slowly moved closer to Chen Nan, her intoxicating fragrance wafting into his nostrils. She said sweetly, "You've finally seen the light this time, and you don't mind if I marry several husbands anymore." "Nonsense, I won't allow you to have other men," Chen Nan said, half-jokingly, pulling her into his arms. "He he." Nangong Xiana tapped his forehead hard, and then broke free like a slippery fish. Chen Nan couldn't see her strange movement technique twice in a row. You're really domineering. You want me to be faithful to you forever? Then prove to me that you're better than everyone else, or don't be greedy. After saying that, Nan Gongxiana chuckled again. Her devilish figure swayed slightly, and her proud breasts trembled, exuding a captivating charm that could bewitch all. Chen Nan laughed and said, "All right, little witch, tell me, why exactly do you want to help me kill the people of the Six Paths?" HMPH, Nan Gongxiana snorted coldly, her voice chilling. Xiong Qian deserves to die. 3 years ago, he visited my Tao of Desire with his master. This shameless scoundrel actually dared to set his sights on me. If I hadn't been extra careful, I would have been outmaneuvered by him. Therefore, he deserves to die. I see, I understand. Chen Nan smiled. I told you the most embarrassing thing a girl can't talk about, and you still act like you don't care. I don't care, you have to kill him to prove you're strong. Nan Gongxiana scolded softly, her tone truly cloyingly sweet. Nangong, after my battle with Xiong Qian, I will be exhausted. You will need to protect me then, as I suspect Meng Kuo might try something drastic. Don't worry, I will never let outsiders take advantage of me. I couldn't bear to, he. Time flies, and the time for the duel between the mischievous little demon king and Chen Nan arrived in the blink of an eye. On this day, the central square of Chu capital was packed with people. The square, spanning 1,000 feet in circumference, was completely overflowing. The best spots had already been claimed by cultivators, while the outer perimeter was filled with ordinary citizens of the capital. Beyond that, vendors, seeing a business opportunity, flocked to the area. The number of cultivators and ordinary people outside the square was no less than tens of thousands, which is enough to show how attractive this decisive battle was. After all, this was a battle between the successor of the Han Tiandao, one of the 6 evil paths of the ancient times, and Chen Nan, a prominent figure in the current cultivation world. Both of them were extraordinary people, both of whom were worthy of being ranked among the top 10 young masters in the Eastern continent, and both of whom were peerless powerhouses in the future cultivation world. The mischievous little devil Xiong Qian, dressed in all black, was already standing in the center of the square. His long, blood-red hair was particularly eye-catching against the black clothes, and it seemed to dance like a blazing flame when a gentle breeze blew by. An endless killing intent erupted from him. The area around the square was originally bustling with noise, but at this moment everyone felt a bone-chilling cold, and the noise gradually quieted down. Everyone stared at the little demon king in the arena. Just then, a terrifying wave surged from the northeast corner, and a wolf howl echoed throughout the entire area. The sound was so loud that it was deafening, and the entire capital city probably heard this enormous roar. Awoo! You unlucky bastard, your grandpa dragon and grandpa Nan are here, awoo! The enormous roar was like an ancient demon invading the human world, and the entire space seemed to tremble. The crowd in the northwest corner quickly parted, and Chen Nan strode into the arena. The purple-gold dragon coiled around his left arm, its head held high, displaying an air of dominance and supreme authority. However, no one could muster any sense of reverence for this legendary dragon. No matter how they looked at it, they felt it was full of evil, or rather, a bandit-like or thuggish aura. After the battle in the palace broke out, many people in the cultivation world already knew that Chen Nan had a legendary Eastern dragon. When they saw the purple-gold dragon, although they were surprised, they were not too surprised. When Chen Nan was still 7 or 8 zhong away from the little demon king, the onlookers could already sense the danger. A whirlwind suddenly arose between the two, and the marble slabs on the ground were blown into the air by a gust of air, just like straw. As the two drew closer, countless stone slabs shot into the air. From a distance, within a radius of about 10 feet around them, heavy marble slabs were floating everywhere, eventually creating an effect that seemed to blot out the sky. When the two were about 3 zhong apart, all the marble slabs floating in the air shattered instantly, turning into dust and scattering to the ground. Outside the square, an uproar erupted. Many cultivators were shocked, while ordinary people were dumbfounded. The noise was deafening. If it weren't for Princess Chu Yu having informed the imperial guards of the capital beforehand, the loud noise here would probably have already attracted the army. Bang! Chen Nan slammed his halberd heavily into the ground, creating huge cracks that spread into the distance. The mischievous little devil's eyes were practically spitting fire. He glared fiercely at Chen Nan like a ferocious beast and said in a cold voice, "You brat, you really dare to come? If I don't grind you to dust today, I really won't be able to swallow this humiliation." Chen Nan sneered, "I can tell you with certainty that you will be defeated. I will use the same method as last time to pierce your ribs, and this time I will nail you to the square." Although Xiong Qian's eyes were flashing with a fierce light, he gradually calmed down. He realized that Chen Nan was obviously much stronger than last time, and indeed had enough strength to fight him to the death. "Heh heh." Xiong Qian chuckled coldly, saying, "You have indeed become stronger, but if you were to fight me at my peak, you would surely die. Now, in front of all the masters in the world, I would tear you to pieces." Chen Nan shook his head and slowly said, "Now I've changed my mind. I'll spare your life for now, and Long Wu will handle it herself in the future. Right now, I want you to be my servant." Seeing these so-called successors of the righteous and evil holy lands, each with their own powerful forces, I'm truly envious. I've decided to build my own strongest team, and you are one of the people I've temporarily chosen. Xiong Qian was a formidable little devil who roamed the world, yet he was being so looked down upon. He was so furious that he felt like his liver and lungs were about to burst and his teeth were about to shatter. He pointed at Chen Nan and said fiercely, "Fine, fine, I'll see if you're destined to make me your servant." Chen Nan sneered, "Don't be unconvinced. What if I told you that I want to unify your 6 evil holy lands and become the supreme ruler of the 6 paths?" Ha ha. The little demon king of chaos laughed wildly. "You want to unify the 6 paths? You want to become the supreme ruler of the 6 paths? Who do you think you are? In my opinion, you are nothing but a person with an empty reputation." Chen Nan smiled and shook his head, saying, "I was afraid that if I took you as my servant, you wouldn't be able to handle the shock and would commit suicide. So I'm telling you my thoughts now to put your mind at ease. Just because I can't integrate them now doesn't mean I can't in the future. Sooner or later, I will integrate these 6 paths into my own hands. I am indeed undeserving of my reputation, but it was someone like me who severely injured you and stole your sect's treasure. Ha ha ha." Enraged, the mischievous little demon king reached behind him and pulled out a replica iron halberd, pointing it diagonally at Chen Nan's throat, saying, "I will fight you to the death." "Wait." Chen Nan stopped him, saying, "There should be some prize in this battle. If I defeat you, I have no other request, but that you become my slave until Long Wu comes to kill you. What do you say? I'll make you angry, whatever." The mischievous little devil brandished his halberd and charged towards Chen Nan. The blazing light of the halberd tore through the void and illuminated the entire square. A smile crept across Chen Nan's lips. He sensed that something might happen after the battle, so he deliberately provoked Xiong Qian with his words in order to gain the upper hand in the battle and deal with any unexpected events. He used the divine void step, leaving a trail of after-images, as he swiftly dodged the blazing halberd light. The purple-gold dragon coiled around him then soared into the sky, shouting, "Birdman, show your wings. What's there to hide? I've seen it all before. You'll be flying soon anyway, might as well show them now." The mischievous little devil wished he could grab this rogue dragon and chop it to pieces. He roared in anger, and the iron halberd in his hand transformed into thousands of streaks of light, slashing and thrusting towards Chen Nan. "Ha ha. Mudskipper is telling the truth. You'd better fly away quickly. You are no match for me on the ground." Chen Nan held a genuine halberd and slashed down. The blazing divine light surged out like dragons and snakes. Both wielded halberds and were at the 4th-tier advanced stage of cultivation. The dazzling halberd light they unleashed when they attacked with all their might burst forth with blinding brilliance when they met, like 10 suns illuminating the sky. A fierce wind immediately arose on the square, and dust and sand covered the sky. When the crowd outside the stadium saw the exciting part, they all cheered and shouted together. Tens of thousands of people shouted together, and the sound truly shook the heavens and the earth. After a long and fierce battle, the little demon king of chaos suddenly roared, illusory demon clone of chaos void Tao. His face was contorted with rage, his long, blood-red hair danced wildly, and after-images burst forth from his body. In an instant, 4 chaotic little demon kings appeared before Chen Nan, standing on all 4 sides and surrounding him in the center. Wow, an avatar, the purple gold dragon in the air exclaimed in surprise. The onlookers exclaimed in shock, my god, sorcery. That's incredible. How can one person be divided into 4? Could it be that he has truly cultivated an external avatar? What do you know? This is the illusionary demon avatar from the Void Tao, a supreme technique of the Soul Heaven Tao. The chaotic Void Tao is listed among the current heavenly skill treasures. It is not surprising that such a skill is close to the Tao. There should be even more mysterious and extraordinary skills. Chen Nan was surrounded by purple light. His eyes shot out 2 purple beams as he coldly scanned the 4 figures, quickly determining their true identities. He then attacked the true form of the chaotic little demon king. He sneered, I've heard that if you cultivate this illusionary demon avatar to its highest level, it becomes an external avatar. Unfortunately, with your current skill, you can't possibly make the illusion real. You might be able to fool a mid-level 4th-tier expert with this kind of illusion technique, but don't you think it's utterly useless against someone of the same level? The mischievous little demon king sneered without answering. His phantoms vanished, and with strange footwork, he rushed towards Chen Nan as fast as a ghost, leaving behind a series of afterimages in the arena. Chen Nan used the divine void step to counter speed with speed, entangled with him. The 2 wielded their halberds continuously, a blazing purple light and a tragic red light intertwined. In the flashes of light, the 2 almost turned into 2 streaks of light, both as swift as lightning. The mischievous little demon king exclaimed in surprise, why do you also know the illusionary demon steps? Chen Nan sneered, yours is the illusionary demon step, and mine is the divine void step. Let's see who is stronger. Brilliant light flashed continuously as the 2 moved with lightning speed, their 2 halberds unleashing bursts of intense divine light, and the deafening roar of explosions echoed across the plaza. Ua! Ua! After exchanging over 100 lightning-fast blows, the 2 shouted simultaneously, each unleashing their peak power to strike the other with their halberds. It could be said that from the very beginning until now, the 2 had been cautiously testing each other. This was truly the first desperate strike. Boom! With a deafening roar, boundless shockwaves surged in all directions, sending the marble slabs on the plaza soaring upwards into the air before exploding into dust. A vast force surged outwards from the plaza, its immense power knocking many people standing at the edge of the plaza to the ground, causing them to retreat in shock. The crowd outside the arena exclaimed, the true duel between near-peerless masters is indeed breathtaking. Such a terrifying clash is truly astonishing. These are just 2 young men in their 20s, yet they are already close to becoming peerless masters. I am truly ashamed. Without further hesitation, the little demon king's white cloak shattered instantly, revealing a pair of crystal clear, shimmering divine and demonic wings on his back. With a whoosh, Xiuhuan unfurled his divine and demonic wings and soared into the sky. Then, as fast as lightning, he pounced on Chen Nan, his halberd gleaming with a cold and eerie light. Chen Nan stood firmly in the arena, holding his divine halberd. He waited for Xiuhuan to rush towards him before quickly retreating. After dodging the barrage of halberd beams, he soared into the sky, reaching a height far exceeding that of the chaotic little demon king. At this moment, the divine halberd in Chen Nan's hand transformed into a dragon, constantly swirling and dancing, with beams of blazing divine light shooting towards Xiuhuan. However, the little demon king of chaos, with his divine and demonic wings on his back, moved with lightning speed, quickly rushing forward to evade this fierce attack. However, at that moment, light flashed beneath Chen Nan's feet, and his body began to move sideways, rushing forward as fast as lightning. 8 steps to chase the moon. The crowd outside immediately gasped in astonishment. This kind of ultimate technique could be used by almost any martial artist with a cultivation level of 4 or above, achieving lightning speed within 8 steps. However, ordinary people performed it on the ground, while Chen Nan actually brought this ultimate technique to its limit in the air, which was truly unbelievable. Just then, an elderly cultivator exclaimed, "Heavens! It's not the 8 steps to chase the moon, it's the legendary 8 steps of the heavenly demon. Within those 8 steps, I am the only one who is fast, breaking through all kinds of techniques in the world." Another elderly martial artist was also extremely surprised, saying, "This is indeed the legendary 8 steps of the heavenly demon. Whether you are a cultivator, a magician, or a martial artist who practices physical techniques, no one can surpass the heavenly demon 8 steps in terms of speed." In a battle between top experts, the key is to seize the initiative. Speed is enough to break all the laws of the world. I really don't understand how Chen Nan mastered the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, which has been lost for nearly 1,000 years. Furthermore, he also knows the long-lost dragon-capturing hand. What is his background, and why does he know so many lost ultimate metaphysical techniques? The crowd outside the venue was buzzing with discussion. This ultimate martial art is derived from the divine void step, allowing for flight and ground maneuvering. At its peak, it surpasses all other techniques in the world. Now that Chen Nan's skill has reached its zenith, and his family's profound art has advanced to a new level, he can naturally unleash the heavenly demon 8 steps. Just as rumored, within the 8 steps of the heavenly demon 8 steps, only I am swift, possessing absolute speed that can break through all other techniques. Without a doubt, in a battle of equal strength, within 8 steps, those who cultivate the heavenly demon 8 steps will have a firm advantage. At this moment, Chen Nan was surrounded by purple aura, transforming into a streak of purple lightning. He took 8 steps in the void, quickly catching up with the chaotic little demon king. Moreover, he had just rushed into the sky, above Xiongqian, and now he was looking down from above, as if Xiongqian was standing on the ground while he was flying. Chen Nan looked down at the demon king of chaos below, swung his divine halberd and cleaved it down at Xiongqianli. The dazzling light, like divine punishment from heaven, tore through the void, and terrifying energy waves surged down. The little demon king cried out in alarm and hurriedly plummeted toward the ground, simultaneously unleashing all his power with his iron halberds, slashing upwards into the air. Boom! An energy storm suddenly swept through the air, the surging energy flow like rocks piercing the sky, like waves crashing against the shore, violently shaking the ground. The iron halberd in Xiongqian's hand was, after all, an ordinary weapon. In the midst of the hasty battle, it was immediately broken in two. Because the little demon king's weapon suddenly broke, his ability to unleash his power to resist Chen Nan was momentarily halted. Chen Nan then slammed down with the force of Mount Tai, breaking through his defenses. The powerful force surged into Xiongqian's body, instantly knocking him to the ground. The mischievous little demon king crashed to the ground in a sorry state, smashing the earth and creating huge cracks, stirring up clouds of dust. Xiongqian had the divine demon wings on his back, enabling him to fly, while his opponent couldn't fly at all. Under these circumstances, he was actually smashed down from the sky by his opponent, which made him feel extremely humiliated, and he felt a sense of madness. The 8 steps of the heavenly demon, I alone am swift, breaking all laws. At this moment, Chen Nan truly resembled the heavenly demon, who had returned from the ancient times. On a special viewing platform in the distance, Meng Kuo and Chu Yu looked at each other, their expressions changing slightly. Meng Kuo sighed, I never expected the 8 steps of the heavenly demon to reappear in the world. The most outstanding successors of the Path of Passion, Nan Gongyin and Nan Gongxiana, a brother and sister duo, exchanged a change of expression. Nan Gongyin sighed softly, this is truly unexpected. He is indeed at the 8th step of the heavenly demon. If you are to fight him, you must never get close. In a battle of the same level, there are probably few who can match him within the 8th step. Nan Gongxiana's eyes shone with an unusual light as she smiled and said, what a pleasant surprise, brother. If I were to master the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, who among the 6 paths would be my match? Not far away, Cheating, the successor of the heartless path, also changed color. Even though his face was usually icy cold, it was now filled with surprise. He sighed softly, interesting. A worthy opponent. When the crowd outside the arena saw Chen Nan unleash the lost heavenly demon 8 steps, knocking the chaotic little demon king to the ground mid-air, they erupted in cheers. Tens of thousands of people shouted in unison, their voices truly shaking the heavens and earth. But to Xiong Qian, these sounds were particularly grating, and he felt deeply humiliated. The mischievous little devil threw away the broken halberd and drew a long sword from his waist. The cold sword light was like autumn water, clearly a divine weapon. You guys in the Chaos Heaven path have quite a few divine weapons. But this sword is still far inferior to this divine halberd, Chen Nan sighed. Enraged, Xiong Qian roared, the 8 steps of the heavenly demon are nothing. Today I will show you the true supreme martial arts manual in the cultivation world. The chaotic void Tao is the most revered under heaven. After shouting, the mischievous little demon king suddenly disappeared into thin air, and then abruptly appeared beside Chen Nan in an instant, raising his sword and thrusting fiercely. The chilling sword light seemed to come from the netherworld, its cold gleam terrifying. Chen Nan was shocked, his opponent was incredibly fast, like a ghost. However, among the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, only he was the fastest. The instant he sensed the chaotic little demon king, he transformed into a bolt of purple lightning and retreated 3 zhong away. However, what happened next was even more astonishing. The little demon king disappeared into thin air again, and then suddenly appeared beside him. If he hadn't mastered the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, he probably would have been injured by Xiong Qian's sword long ago. The crowd outside the arena erupted in uproar. Everyone was incredulous. The little demon king's movements were incredibly fast, truly unpredictable, like a ghost. Only Chen Nan, who had mastered the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, was fighting him, otherwise, even experts of the same level would likely find it difficult to resist his mysterious and unpredictable movements. In this world, only the heavenly demon 8 steps is the fastest in short distances. However, Xiong Qian's movement technique has overturned people's understanding. Today, everyone has witnessed a movement technique that can rival the heavenly demon 8 steps. This is a major event that has shocked the cultivation world. People were talking about it, and the older generation of experts all shook their heads. This is definitely not a unique skill from the chaotic void path. I have never seen them possess such extraordinary abilities before. Could it be that a peerless genius has emerged in the chaotic heaven path, creating this mysterious movement technique? It's very possible that some ancient beings in the chaotic heaven path are still alive and have recently created this unique skill. The crowd was abuzz with discussion, with all sorts of opinions circulating. Some even went so far as to claim that this was a lost art that had reappeared in the cultivation world. Swish swish swish. Chen Nan repeatedly shifted positions, frequently employing the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, constantly changing his location within the arena. However, the little demon king of chaos followed closely, relentlessly attacking him with his divine sword. Such petty tricks, let's see how you deal with me. Chen Nan coldly shouted, then closed his eyes, his keen senses replacing his eyes. Holding the divine halberd, he pointed east and west, south and north, as if he could predict from which direction the mischievous little demon king would appear. The two engaged in another fierce battle. A smile gradually appeared on Chen Nan's face. Finally, he opened his eyes and laughed. I finally know the secret of your movement technique. At first, I thought it was no less than the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, but now it seems it's ultimately inferior. In a battle of equal strength, if the opponent hasn't practiced the 8 steps of the heavenly demon like I have, even knowing your secret, I'm afraid few could stand against you. I regret that your opponent is me. The 8 steps of the heavenly demon breaks all laws, you can hardly do anything to me. Chen Nan slammed out a palm with his left hand, striking the Hun Qian little demon king, who had suddenly appeared to his left. The vast and unparalleled palm force was like the rolling Yangtze River, like a mighty river, as if it were about to sweep across the heavens and the earth. The purple divine light on the square was dazzling. The mischievous little demon king raised his palm to resist, and a blazing blood-red aura burst forth from his palm, colliding with the unparalleled purple light. It was as if a thunderbolt had struck in mid-air, and a fierce energy storm raged throughout the 1,000-foot-wide plaza, making the entire world seem to tremble. The mischievous little devil was forced back after his attack, and the next moment he appeared out of thin air behind Chen Nan. However, Chen Nan seemed to have anticipated his appearance there, and quickly slashed backward with his halberd. The blazing purple light almost cut Xiuhuan in two. He broke out in a cold sweat and quickly used his movement technique to appear in another location. Only at this moment did the little demon king of chaos truly change color, as his opponent seemed to have him firmly restrained. Chen Nan Demon 8 Steps was frequently unleashed, his figure like a dream, constantly changing positions, his halberd pointing directly at Xiuhuan's vitals each time. The two fought with incredible speed, like two streaks of light clashing together. Among the spectators, the successors of the holy lands of both righteous and evil paths were most interested in the unique techniques of the two people in the arena. Meng Kuo frowned slightly and said, "What kind of ultimate technique is this? Why have I never heard of it before? It seems that Xiuhuan has really been pushed to the limit this time, otherwise he would never have used such an ultimate technique so easily in front of the world. If he uses this ultimate technique to attack me, how can I fight back? This technique is too mysterious. In a battle between people of the same level, I'm afraid there are very few who can compete with it." Chuyu comforted her, saying, "Senior sister, don't worry too much. You have a Taoist treasure and a lotus platform, which allows you to move freely in the air. Xiuhuan will have no way to do anything to you." Meng Kuo shook her head and said, "Whenever powerful individuals clash, close combat is inevitable. Moreover, Xiuhuan can also fly, making his unpredictable movement technique truly difficult to defend against. The emergence of the heavenly demon 8 Steps already astonished me, but I never expected such a mysterious and unpredictable movement technique to appear now. If one could master either the heavenly demon 8 Steps or Xiuhuan's movement technique, they would be virtually invincible in battles of equal strength." The stunningly beautiful Nangong Xiana showed a look of astonishment, displaying a unique and captivating demeanor. She exclaimed in surprise, "I've never heard of the Hun Tian Dao having such a unique skill. Where did this guy learn this movement technique from? If I were to master this movement technique as well, and combine it with the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, who in this world could stop me?" Nangong Yin smiled and said, "You really are greedy. But if you want to master it, it will depend on your skills. Don't disappoint your brother, little sister. I am also very envious of the heavenly demon 8 Steps and Xiuhuan's strange movement technique." In the distance, the successor of the Heartless Path frowned slightly. Although his face was cold, two strange lights shot out from his eyes. He muttered to himself in a cold voice, "Strange, not bad." At this moment, apart from Chen Nan, only Kelly, one of the top 10 experts of the Western continent, noticed something amiss, and a look of suspicion began to appear in his eyes. Then, he closed his eyes and focused on sensing the fluctuations of the surrounding magical elements. After a short while, he opened his eyes in shock, staring intently at the little demon king, his eyes radiating a fiery and intense light. "Spatial magic, it's actually lost spatial magic," he muttered to himself in a barely audible voice. Legend has it that 1,000 years ago, the Hun Tian Dao invited a great master from the west, who was proficient in spatial magic to forge the divine demon wings. Presumably, there must be a spatial array in those divine demon wings. The people of the Hun Tian Dao must have obtained some secrets from them. Kelly's eyes could no longer be taken off the divine demon wings on Xiuhuan's back. At this moment, the battle between Chen Nan and Xiuhuan has reached its climax. Sword energy and halberd light crisscross the square. The two have exchanged more than 1,000 blows. This is truly a fierce battle between dragons and tigers. The mischievous little demon king had already taken to the air again. His divine demon wings made him move like lightning, and his spatial magic made him appear like a ghost. Although he could not do anything to Chen Nan, he still made the disciples of several righteous and evil holy lands outside the arena very frightened. The 8 steps of the heavenly demon, capable of breaking all laws, is no exaggeration. In a battle between martial artists, there will inevitably be close combat. Under the power of these 8 rapid steps, any other technique seems pale and powerless. Seeing Chen Nan rely on the 8 steps of the heavenly demon to neutralize all the supernatural powers of the chaotic little demon king, the onlookers were all envious. Chaotic Void Dao. Xiong Qian suddenly shouted, plunging straight down from the sky. He had already sheathed his longsword and crossed his arms in front of his chest. Space tore open at that moment, and a black hole, like the abyss of hell, appeared in front of him, from which a huge energy wave surged forth. Kelly, a master of magic, exclaimed, "The Way of the Void." The Way of the Void. Now I understand why they changed the original name of their ultimate technique, the Way of Chaos, to the Way of Chaos Void. At this moment, he realized that this so-called void path was closely related to spatial magic. The combination of Eastern mysticism and Western top-tier magic to create a completely new martial art left him utterly astonished. Just as Kelly had predicted, the ultimate techniques of the Han Qian Dao were not originally like this. 1,000 years ago, in order to refine the divine demon wings, the Han Qian Dao invited a Western magic master and an Eastern Taoist eccentric. Through the techniques they displayed, they saw the wondrous aspects of magic and Taoist arts. Later, the Taoist master departed, and the divine demon wings were not completed. The people of Han Qian Dao then began to work on this unfinished product themselves. One of their geniuses used his supreme profound skill to probe the divine demon wings with his true energy, and without damaging the masterpiece, copied the second half of the spatial array. Through the tireless efforts of several generations of geniuses in the Han Qian Dao, they finally grasped about 30 to 40% of the mysteries of this spatial array. They then combined it with their own martial arts to create the Void Dao, a metaphysical art that lies between magic and Taoist arts. Until recently, a powerful figure within the sect, through repeated attempts, combined martial arts movement techniques with spatial magic to create the martial magic movement technique. This technique allows for movement as swift as a ghost, avoiding the drawbacks of spatial magic, which requires chanting and is slow. This is the strange movement technique that the little demon king of chaos just used. Chen Nan was able to restrain him, because he later sensed faint fluctuations in magical elements, allowing him to predict from which direction the little demon king would appear. However, without the heavenly demon 8 steps footwork, even if Chen Nan could see through the true nature of the chaotic little demon king, he would still find it difficult to dodge his ghostly attacks. At this moment, the black hole in front of the little demon king gradually expanded, slowly growing from the size of a bowl to the size of a washbasin. A terrifying energy wave surged out and rushed towards Chen Nan. Chen Nan had already learned from Nangong Xiana about the terrifying nature of this extraordinary skill. The seniors of the Path of Passion had deduced that this extraordinary skill originated from the spatial array within the divine demon wings, and that the user could draw upon the power of an unknown space. He unleashed the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, swiftly dodging the energy storm erupting from the black hole, and then struck forward with a palm. The immense palm force unleashed a dazzling purple light, surging into the air. However, something astonishing happened. This immense palm strike was utterly ineffective against the black hole, and all its power was swallowed up by the pitch black hole, which resembled the entrance to hell. Chaos erupted outside the arena, with spectators exclaiming in alarm. The supreme technique of the chaotic heaven path, the void path. This is truly bizarre. Truly worthy of being among the supreme techniques of the heavenly martial arts manuals. A tremendous suction force pulled Chen Nan off the ground, crashing him into the black hole. Only now did he realize how terrifying the Void Dao was. The person who created this technique was indeed a genius. Manipulating the power of unknown space to eliminate opponents, what a terrifying technique. If this technique can be further perfected, there is no doubt that the caster will be able to freely manipulate the power of certain spaces. Just imagine, who could rival him? He would be invincible in the mortal realm. Essentially, an attack is about delivering energy to the opponent as quickly as possible. Cultivators, mags, and martial artists use different powers, but they all pursue the ultimate speed. There are countless paths to cultivation, and when differentiating the strength of various cultivators, speed and power are the foundation of all methods. Faced with the irresistible force in the air, Chen Nan could only respond with his maximum speed. He repeatedly unleashed the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, and with this extreme speed, he finally broke free from the shackles of that terrifying force and escaped the dangerous area. The mischievous little demon king was extremely unwilling and kept using his martial demon movement technique to get closer to Chen Nan, trying to devour him with the unknown space opened up by the void path. However, the martial demon movement technique was ultimately inferior to the heavenly demon's 8 steps, and the space opened up by the void path could not restrain Chen Nan, who had the ultimate speed. The two moved across the square at lightning speed. The onlookers were stunned. The various supernatural powers displayed by the little demon king were truly amazing. If he hadn't encountered Chen Nan, who was proficient in the ancient martial art of the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was invincible in battles of the same level. Meng Kuo's eyes flashed with a cold light as she said, "I didn't expect the little demon king to be so powerful. I think if Chen Nan hadn't pushed him to the limit today, he wouldn't have revealed his strength." His mysterious and unpredictable movement technique combined with the void Dao makes him almost invincible among the younger generation. We absolutely cannot let him leave here alive today. Otherwise, once he becomes powerful in the future, no one will be able to deal with him. Chuyu nodded and said, "Don't worry, senior sister, I've already made arrangements. If it weren't for the ancestor forbidding me from touching Chen Nan, I would have helped you get rid of him as well." Meng Kuo nodded without saying a word. The Nangong siblings were also astonished. The immense power displayed by the combination of the martial demon body technique and the void Dao deeply shocked them, and the word invincible flashed through their minds. Nangong Xiana completely suppressed her alluring charm, her delicate brows furrowing slightly as she said, "The little demon king is unruly and difficult to tame, and he is almost invincible among his peers. This is really not a good thing. I'm afraid only Chen Nan, who has mastered the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, can restrain him. It seems we must win Chen Nan over, otherwise no one will be able to control Xiong Qian in the future." Nangong Yin sighed, "I never imagined Xiong Qian would be so powerful. However, if you think Chen Nan is easier to bribe than the little demon king, you're sorely mistaken. To be honest, I'd rather you try to win over Xiong Qian than provoke that scoundrel. I'm afraid you'll end up burning yourself in the future." At this moment, Xiong Qian crossed his arms, using the void Dao mystic art to draw upon the power from another dimension, forming a small black vortex on his chest, as dark and terrifying as a bottomless pit. He carried the divine demon wings, flying through the air, and possessed a mysterious and unpredictable martial demon movement technique, constantly shifting his position, making him appear to the east and west, trying to catch Chen Nan's shadow. However, the ancient and extraordinary skill, the 8 steps of the heavenly demon, is too mysterious. Its extreme speed can break through all laws. This is a duel between speed and power. Xiong Qian's eyes were bloodshot, and he roared repeatedly. His long, blood-red hair danced wildly, making him look extremely ferocious and terrifying, truly like a demon king. Unable to break through after a long attack, he became increasingly anxious and enraged. The chaotic void Dao technique was already very taxing on his energy, and now he was gradually becoming exhausted. "Chen Nan, you coward, do you dare to fight me head-on?" "HMPH, Chen Nan snorted coldly, "Watch how I break your void Dao. If I don't show you my skills, you'll really think you're invincible." He had been observing for a long time from the beginning until now, and had seen through the void path. He realized that the little demon king of chaos had done his best this time, and had left no killers behind. Chen Nan raised his right hand high and shouted, "Heaven-destroying hand." This shout was like a thunderclap that resounded throughout the entire arena, making all the spectators' ears ache. The mischievous little devil was genuinely startled. He already knew that Chen Nan possessed the lost art of the dragon-capturing hand, and had been on guard from the very beginning. But now, his opponent shouted, "Heaven-destroying hand," and without seeing the palm of light approaching, he couldn't help but laugh loudly. "Chen Nan, I know you're proficient in the dragon-capturing hand, but why shout heaven-destroying hand? Are you trying to scare me? Ha ha. However, his laughter suddenly stopped abruptly. A massive purple gold palm of light rapidly condensed above him, then slammed down with overwhelming force. The terrifying energy fluctuations swept in all directions, and the descending energy storm caused the ground below to tremble. The little demon king was terrified. He didn't even see how the heaven-destroying hand appeared above his head. He hurriedly used his martial demon movement technique to dodge the fatal blow and quickly appeared in another location. However, the heaven-destroying hand was like a shadow, following him everywhere. The moment he flashed out of that spot, the heaven-destroying hand struck down, startling the little demon king into dodging again. This happened 7 or 8 times, until Xiong Qian's face turned ashen. On the 9th time, he was finally struck on the back by the nearly 10-foot-long purple gold palm, and slammed heavily to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. The spectators outside the arena erupted in uproar. The battle had ended in an instant. No one could understand how the heaven-destroying hand had appeared. They had never heard of this ultimate technique before, yet it had defeated the nearly invincible Chaos Demon King. Everyone's face was filled with shock. It seems that only Meng Kuo outside the arena had ever heard of the extraordinary technique, the heaven-destroying hand. She murmured to herself, the dragon-capturing hand, when sublimated to its ultimate form, becomes the heaven-destroying hand. Its palm strikes without form or shadow, yet the aura of heaven-destroying energy emanates and condenses into the hand at its utmost. This is unbelievable. Even Patriarch Tantai couldn't obtain the heaven-destroying hand technique back then. So how did this guy get it? What is this guy's background? Why does he know such ancient and lost techniques, as the 8 steps of the heavenly demon and the heaven-destroying hand? Chu, you must find out his origins. This guy is too mysterious. Princess Chu was also surprised. She nodded, looking thoughtful. At this moment, everyone outside the arena exclaimed in surprise. Inside the arena, a large purple gold hand grabbed Xiong Qian, who had fallen to the ground, and then slammed him to the ground again. This was repeated several times until the little devil was bleeding from his mouth and nose before it stopped. Chen Nan strode forward, placed one foot on Xiong Qian's chest, took the sword from his waist, and said, "Now I declare that you belong to me. From now on you are my slave, and this sword of yours is naturally mine as well." The mischievous little devil was almost bursting with rage, but at this moment his body felt like it was falling apart, and Chen Nan was pressing on his chest acupoint, so he couldn't move at all. He cursed loudly, "Chen Nan, you brat, just kill me, or I'll fight you to the death." "Pa. If I wanted to kill you, I would have used the heaven-destroying hand to end your life just now. Wasn't it just to spare your life, so you could become my slave? Everyone else can just unleash their domineering aura, and all their underlings and beauties will come back to them. But I have to personally capture my underlings. How embarrassing." Outside the arena, Nangong Xiana waved to someone behind her, and a dozen or so experts rushed into the arena. At the same time, Chu smiled slightly at Meng Kuo, gestured to her subordinates, and more than 20 figures quickly rushed into the arena. Next, 7 or 8 figures rushed into the arena from the southwest, more than a dozen figures rushed into the arena from the northeast corner, more than a dozen figures rushed into the arena from the due east. Chen Nan looked at the experts surging in from all directions, his eyes flashing coldly before he sighed, "You unlucky bastard, you and I have been too high-profile today, making many people deeply wary. The name of invincibility really does bring trouble. It seems I can't successfully take you as my slave." As he spoke, a cold glint flashed in Chen Nan's eyes. He gripped his halberd and thrust it towards the chaotic little demon king. Just then, Xiong Qian suddenly roared and spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood condensed into a blood sword, instantly materializing. This was formed from the chaotic little demon king's life essence, possessing immense power, but causing great damage to his body. He would never have used this technique unless it was a matter of life and death. The blood sword struck the divine halberd, producing a clanging sound like metal clashing. Despite this obstruction, the halberd's edge only grazed Xiong Qian's neck, failing to sever his head. Chen Nan was stunned for a moment. Taking advantage of this rare opportunity, the little demon king quickly rolled away from Chen Nan's feet, and then spread his divine demon wings, and soared into the sky. But at this moment, experts who had rushed from afar arrived. More than a dozen figures quickly soared into the sky. These people were all magicians. They surrounded Xiong Qian from a distance. Chen Nan waved rapidly towards the distant sky, and the purple gold dragon swooped down like lightning, carrying him away from the encirclement on the ground. The mags in the air didn't rush towards Chen Nan. They seemed to be mainly targeting the mischievous little demon king, and were locked in a stalemate with Xiong Qian for a time. However, 8 mags rose up from the ground, occupying 8 directions and blocking Chen Nan's retreat from afar. Chen Nan whispered, "Mudfish, quickly give me a drop of dragon blood to help me recover my strength." Damn it. At %. The purple gold dragon cursed, "You actually dared to make a move on me, and I've helped you like this." It thrashed about, almost throwing Chen Nan to the ground. Chen Nan said in a low voice, "The heaven-destroying hand has exhausted all my inner strength. The situation is critical now, and someone may want to harm me. I promise you, I will return 10 vermilion fruits to you in the future." At this moment, a handsome young man and a young monk followed Meng Kuo into the square. All 3 were young, but their aura as masters of their generation was unmistakable. At the same time, Qi Ting, Nan Gongyin, and Nan Gongxiana also walked into the square. The spectators erupted in uproar, clearly many recognizing the individuals. Someone shouted, "The successors of the holy lands of righteousness and evil are about to engage in a final battle." Surrounded, the mischievous little demon king's expression shifted repeatedly. On the surface, the 6 paths seemed united, but in reality, they were treacherous and cunning. He wasn't naive enough to believe that Nan Gongyin and the others had come to rescue him. They were most likely a few successors from the righteous and evil holy lands trying to eliminate him and Chen Nan during the chaos. It was all Wudi's fault. At that moment, on the other side of the sky, the purple gold divine dragon roared viciously, "Boy, you better remember this. 100 vermilion fruits, 100 of them. Greedy loach." A single drop of divine dragon blood had fully restored Chen Nan's vitality, and he was now completely calm. Looking at the several experts from the Holy Land below, he sneered in a low voice, "They're all scheming. At crucial moments, allies are truly betrayed. If you hadn't recovered your strength, you'd be in grave danger. I'll sit back and watch for now. When the time comes, I'll make sure each of you takes a hit from my heaven-destroying hand. I'll make sure you never forget it. I am invincible." The purple gold divine dragon was an ancient monster that had become a spirit. It immediately understood Chen Nan's intention and exclaimed, "Awoo. Excellent. This dragon loves chaos in the world." This video